everybody, welcome back to the Dice Matrix. It's your old buddy ET here today, and yes, I'm here to talk about a little game that's been out a while, 2 to 4 players, The Mind. Now this is an interesting little game. It's kind of, I guess, a party style game, but it's also more of a cerebral experience. This has to do with you and your players around the table trying to cooperatively get further and further, making harder and harder choices, and just reading the vibes off of other people of when to play your cards. And if you can do that and complete all levels, then you have won The Mind. Let's get to the table and take a look at The Mind. What's in the box? What's in the box? Well, I'll tell you, Brad Pitt. Here's what's in the box. Good box, by the way. You get a little pamphlet with all the rules on it, which are pretty simple to read. And a little disclaimer at the end that they said don't read until you've at least completed, I guess, like your first game or know how the rules are. And you got a nice little cardboard divider, kind of to keep your cards a little even. We'll just set that aside for a second. And what you have in this deck are just a few different things. First of all, you have some rabbits, and then you've got some throwing stars, and then you have cards that have levels on them, leveled 1 through 12. So basically, this is a 2 to 4 player game, and these rabbits represent your lives and chances to win as a group. So for every player in the game, you'll get a rabbit. So let's just say we're going to do a 3-player game. So you get one of those, and you get 1 throwing star. And in the rules will tell you how many levels you have to play through. In a 3-player game, you have to play through level 10 to win. So we'll just put that out there, and the other ones can kind of go back to the box. You might want to keep the stars and the rabbits close by because the numbers could go up or down and fluctuate. I'm going to move these slightly to the side, and I'll explain that as we go. And then you have this other deck, which has 100 cards exactly, and they're numbered from 1 to 100. No card is repeated. No numeric value is repeated. And you will deal out on the first round cards to each player equal to the level. So each of the 3 players will get 1 card. Everybody will look at their card, and the object of the game is to play. Every person will play cards out of their hand. There's no particular turn order, but you have to play them in ascending order from lowest to highest. So you're like, well, how hard is that? So like, let's just take a quick look to see what my teammates have. He has a 4, a 31. So to win round 1, he'd have to play the 4. He'd have to play the 31 next. I'd have to play my 49. And then we'd complete level 1. That would get set aside, and we'd go on to level 2. Well, you're not allowed, the twist is you're not allowed to reveal the numeric value in your hand, and you're not supposed to give any hand signals and no communication at all. Although, it is widely accepted with your group, you'll figure out your own parameters. Like if I have a high number like this, my posture and look might be more like, okay, I might have a higher number, so I might hold this a little closer to me or kind of lean back. Like I'm not really interested in playing this anytime soon, but it doesn't mean that these 2 players don't have higher numbers than me. And that's where the challenge comes in, because you're like, okay, I'm waiting for a while. What's going on? So what happens is, we said, of course, if you play them in the correct order, you will get to complete the level and move on. Now, let's say you completed that level and you go to round 2. So every player has now 2 cards in their hand, because you reshuffle the deck and deal them back out. And I'm like, oh, wow, I get the 49 again. How odd. So I have a 43 and a 49. I'm like, well, man, this is really weird. Now, if you don't play them in the right order, let's just say, if anything, that 4 is pretty low, I remember. But let's say the hand was shaken up a bit. This guy had a 14. And this person plays something out of order. Like, okay, this person definitely plays the 4. Maybe the 14 goes off. And I'm going, okay, now we're in a little harder state. So I'm going, everybody's still waiting now for a while. What's going on? So let's say instead I decide to play my 43. Once there's an error, somebody has a lower card in their hand, they'll say stop. And when that happens, everybody with a card lower than that in their hand, which wouldn't be the person that played, obviously, because they can only play the lowest card in their hand, would look at their hand and like, yep, I had a lower card than you. If anybody else has, but they'll actually reveal it to the side. They'll say, okay, so you'll know that that was their lowest card, and that means you lose a life. You didn't totally fail level 2, because you still have rabbits left, but now the game is paused and you'll continue. But you do have a small clue that you know that the lowest card in their hand now was a 31. So, and they may not have any cards left, so they don't. So it's just me and the other player, and let's say we're waiting and waiting, but 43 was, so I'm going to go, hey, I don't think you have anything in between us, so I play it, they play it, we complete. Now, if you complete a level with a symbol on it, you gain that reward. So this says we would get an additional star. So we didn't use a star, so I'd have 2. So I just go over and grab me a star, if I can find one here. And you can have up to, looks like 3 stars at most. Yeah, because they only give you 3 in the thing. Okay, but let's say as the game goes on, it gets tougher and tougher. So now we're going to have 3 cards apiece. Well, how do you use the stars? What are they for? Well, they're here to help you, my friends. So we're on level 3, so we get 3 cards apiece. And I look and I go, ooh, well, you know, got a 61, a 39. So for me, it's kind of hard to say. Now, depending on my opponents, if they have something really low, that's kind of a mixed bag. 23 is not too bad low, but it does, yeah, so we got a 23 intercept, so it's really hard. So let's say there's a big hold off where people are like afraid to play, or what somebody can do is even in the middle of playing like cards, someone can just basically raise their hand, which means they're suggesting, let's use one of our stars, okay? And if everybody agrees, everybody will raise their hand together. And if they do that, you discard a star, and then everybody will play the lowest card out of their hand next to them. Like I would play the 32, they would have played the 27, and they would have played the 23. So that kind of gives you an idea of what their lowest card was in their hand. So now those are all gone, and now, you know, play will continue, you know, as normal. And you will keep continuing to play the game until you complete either all the levels or you end up failing. So that's how simple it is to play the game, the Mind. There is a little advanced challenge at the end. Supposedly, once you become really attuned with your group in this game/activity, depending on how you want to look at it, it is a that you'll play the game blind, where everybody plays their cards face down and they're all played out, and then you reveal it at the end, and then if something's out of order, you'd lose a life for that, and you don't complete the level. So it can be really challenging if you think that you're really good with your group of kind of reading each other, all the little nuances here and there. So that could be really, really interesting. And so then you don't even have the numbers to go on. It's just all 100% intuition at that point, filling out everybody. But that's the Mind, a simple group party activity. I think this is a good game for people who like something a little more cerebral, challenging themselves, just something fun. I look at it like a party activity, party game. You know, I don't know if you consider a strategy, but it's just definitely an experience. And if you're interested in something like this and you're tired of the same old like bar party games where people are like, oh, I'm just going to write a bad word or make the funniest thing, and you know, then this might be a nice change up for you. Yeah, I'm going to give this a positive view. You know, I'm not saying that this is something I would break out every time, but this is something you could break out to people who aren't used to more advanced board games, but yet like kind of a party style feel, like a group activity, and they don't mind some sort of cooperative play. So this could be a very good situation for them. So I recommend, if you can get it at a cheap price, to maybe add to your collection as a specific game for people who might enjoy that. All right, I hope you enjoyed it. Of course, I'm ET, and you've been watching the Dice Matrix. Have a great day. Keep the cards flopping and the dice rolling.